Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. Today I've got 3 replays in the Mercenary Tier 8 Premium Medium Tank, the Reapers Scythe. Now if you do like the video as always, don't forget to like and subscribe down below as it really does help out the channel. And yes, the Reapers Scythe, it is a bit of a memey Premium Medium Tank. You've got a hard-hitting gun tier for the tank. You've got armour that works pretty well. The big downside to this vehicle is it's not very good in a tier 10 matchup, or even a tier 9 matchup sometimes, because of the penetration. And that is the biggest drawback to this vehicle. Everything about this tank is lovely, except for the penetration, because you've got 212 on the standard. And then you've got no premium, because the premium is a memey Hesh round. And that's why I enjoy this vehicle, because you've got the hard-hitting gun, which is nice for the tier, and then a memey Hesh round on top. And with the crew and equipment changes that came in, it means you're a lot easier able to run the loaded shell exchanger, which is the ammo swapper, because beforehand, if you wanted to do that and then be able to meme with the Hesh rounds, a lot of the time you were giving up something like the gun stabilizer, and this gun is pretty derpy, so it was a bit of a pain. But now with the crew and equipment changes, you can run the loaded shell exchanger no problem, while also having a pretty similar setup to what you had before. Like I say, the only real drawback to this vehicle, and I suppose you'd say possibly it's a balancing factor, but probably not. It means it still struggles really badly in a tier 10 matchup, because there are some games where you sit there going, I really can't pen anything. Oh boy. But we're going to have some really nice games in it. That's why we're making a video on it, because we played it a couple of times after the crew and equipment changes, just to see what we could get out of it with the new loaded shell exchanger. Well, I say the new. The loaded shell exchanger equipped in with the new setup, new skills, that sort of thing. The gun was a bit derpy beforehand, so let's see how it goes, and really there wasn't no real much difference, to be honest. And we had some pretty nice games, and like I say, I thoroughly do enjoy the Reapers Scythe. It's just that you do have those frustrating occasions, and there's no sugarcoating that. You do have those frustrating occasions where you go against lots of tanks that you sit there going, I can't pen that. I can't pen that either. And I can't pen that either. Oh, this is awkward, you know? So, with the Reapers Scythe, we've got a 48 km/h top speed, 18 km/h reverse speed, a 600 horsepower engine, which is 14.29 horsepower per ton ratio, which means we do get to the top speed just about. It can feel a little bit sluggish because it's not the best power to weight, but again, it's trade-offs because we actually have pretty decent frontal armour. You've also got 1.73 on soft, 1.05 on medium, and 0.96 on firm in terms of the terrain resistances, so they don't really hold the tank back that much. It's just the engine power being a bit poopy at times. That means that it does feel a little bit sluggish when you get to the top speed. It does hit the top speed though, which is okay. We've got 6.37 internal fire chance with the build that we run because, yeah, we have to run fire safety training. This thing did like getting set on fire a lot. Fire safety training has made it so that it's a lot less likely to get set on fire, which is lovely. And if we do get set on fire, it puts it out a lot faster. So that's a nice thing that we can now run on the vehicle, since fire safety training was fire prevention and firefighting put together. We've got a 4.14 degree a second hull rotation speed, which means the tank does turn decently quickly on its track. And say decently quickly, that's pretty quickly on its tracks. As we failed to pen that Hesh round there, we should have fired AP and used the ammo swapper, but hey ho. We have that 41.14 degree a second, like I say, on the hull rotation. So the hull does turn pretty quickly. And with a 41.68 degree a second turret rotation speed, the turret also turns pretty quickly on this vehicle. Only ever so slightly faster than the hull, though. So you do have to be careful of that with this vehicle, that if you are trying to turn to the right and keep your gun locked on the left, a lot of the time the turret might keep turning to the right with you, because that turret traverse is just that little bit slower than the tracks. Oh, sorry, just that only a little bit faster than the tracks is what I meant to say. You've got 317 meters of still concealment, with 346 of on-the-move concealment, so the actual concealment is not too bad on this vehicle. For saying we've not really, well, we haven't helped it out at all on this tank. The concealment's actually pretty good, and with the 346 on-the-move concealment, that's not that great, and you will end up getting spotted when you do move, but if you're stationary behind a bush, this thing can stay unspotted, and honestly, if you were to try and spec this thing out for camo, you would actually get a pretty good camo setup. You get it down to near enough 290 meters of still concealment, which is still absolutely solid. So if you wanted to make this thing more stealthy rather than utilize between AP... Oh my lord, that is a terrible shot. But yeah, utilize the AP or the HE, then it's worth thinking about, because the camo can be very good on this vehicle, which is, like I said, pretty nice. You got 452 meters of view range for this vehicle, which is a little bit low for a tier 8 medium tank. It's not the best view range in the universe, which means this vehicle can be a bit blind at times, whereas there's quite a few medium tanks that are pushing higher view ranges than that in tier 8. In fact, we are below average in terms of our view range. You're still above the 445 meter view spotting cap, which is okay. It means at least you'll spot up to that point, but yeah, you'll struggle when you're coming against the more stealthy vehicles when you're trying to spot them, like Mr. Charioteer over in the distance, for example. We've got a 1.2 accuracy during rotation with a 2.91 accuracy during movement. Wow, that ricocheted. Cheers, game. And partially the accuracy during rotation and movement, which, like I say, is a 1.2 during rotation and a 2.91 accuracy during movement, which is atrocious. And as you've seen during this game, and as you just saw there, the aim circle is rather large when you turn and when you are moving in this vehicle, which means you do feel the 2.21 second aim time. And that aim circle bloom is quite large, and it's not the best in the universe. And that's helping out as much as humanly possible as well with the crew and the equipment. So yeah, the gun handling on this vehicle can leave a lot to be desired. As you also have 0.38 accuracy at 100 meters, which again is onto the derpier end of the scale. It's not quite above 0.4 where you're starting to go, oh boy, this is derpy. But you are starting to feel the more derpiness of this gun with that 0.38. And that's how you do feel the 2.21 second aim time, as well as, you know, that is a bit long. We have 5 degrees of gun depression, which is typically Soviet, as this is based on the Object 430U, which is a Soviet vehicle. So, 5 degrees of gun depression, poor, very limiting, just like a lot of Soviet vehicles. If you know how to play your Soviet tanks and get the most out of 5 degrees of gun depression and know where to place yourself to be able to get the gun down in that sort of scenario, then you'll do alright with this vehicle. That 5 degrees of gun depression is limiting and can be a royal pain. You just have to position yourself correctly to be able to actually do anything with that sort of gun depression. We've got a 12.86 second reload as well, which is 2,055 DPM, which is not the best DPM. In fact, it's fairly poor DPM for a tier 8 medium tank, but that's to balance out the fact that you do have 440 alpha, which is actually pretty high for a medium, well, it's extremely high for a medium tank in this tier. You also have the 530 alpha on the Hesh and the 630 on the standard Hesh, which, yeah, well, the standard HE, I should say, which is very high alpha. And the standard HE, you're not going to pen on as many vehicles. You might pen those on the lightly armoured artilleries. But the 165 Hesh pen can be very, very good, especially in a top-tier matchup where you're against tier 6 and 7s, where you'll pen most of those vehicles with 165. And if you've got the ammo swapper now, which is very easy to use, and you come against things in the rear, like Mr. Roswell there, you can now switch to the Hesh rounds very easily to be able to use those 530-round Hesh rounds. So you got 212 on the standard AP, which is low. That's below. It's even below average, and it can be a real pain in the bottom tier matchup, as we say, as we finish that first game with the first class, the 1673 base XP for the 4k damage, 204 assistance damage. But yeah, it's low. The penetration is low, and that can be painful. Very, very painful indeed in the Reapers Scythe, because if you get those games where you can't pen anything because they've got heavy armor, it can be super frustrating. 165 on the Hesh. Again, is enough to go through a lot of the tanks at tier 6 and 7. You can go through quite a few of the tier 8s with that if you hit them in the right spot. But against the tier 9s and 10s, it's not quite as useful. You've got 68mm penetration on the standard HE. Now, the standard HE, like I said, good against the lightly armoured artilleries, not much else. But since we've got the loaded shell exchanger that we can quite easily put on the vehicle now, while also helping the gun handling, there's a lot of situations like you saw in that replay there where you can sneak up on someone, get up behind them, and then hit them with that big Hesh round, and then when they turn around, you can switch back to the AP, and that's also a nice asset for the Reaper's Scythe. You've got 870 meters a second shell velocity, 870 on all 3 rounds, which is not the best. It's below average. It means you have to give quite a bit of lead at distance to be able to hit your targets, and it helps to make this gun feel fairly derpy because that velocity is not the greatest in the universe. And as it is a premium tank, you do have a 150% silver bonus, which means it does make good silver. And since you don't really find much premium if you're in a bottom tier matchup, you will make good silver if you do pen the rounds. But naturally, as we do meme around with this vehicle, firing the Hesh rounds, and we fire quite a few of them, you tend to not make quite as much money because, well, you're firing premium rounds. So, yeah, you do have that pain. So what do I run in terms of a crew and equipment on the Reaper Scythe in this new day and age? Well, I do run Born Leader, Situational Awareness, Trap Mechanic, Run and Gun, Snapshot, Clutch Braking, Rapid Aim, Expert Gunner, Fire Safety Training, the Advanced Loader, the Gun Stabilizer, Optics, and the Loaded Shell Exchanger. Loaded Shell Exchanger because the AP and the Hesh round, switching between the two is a very, very big asset for the vehicle, and it's very nice to be able to up your damage where you can actually pen those HE rounds, and switch back to the AP rounds where you're not going to be able to do much with the HE. And we run the Expert Gunner to be able to increase our chance of doing module damage by 6% with those AP rounds, but bear in mind that they don't increase your chance of doing module damage with the Hesh or the HE. We run the Optics to be able to get above the 445 meter spotting cap, same as we do Situational Awareness. The Gun Stabilizer to get the accuracy on movement and rotation down as low as possible, so that the aim circle doesn't bloom out horrendously. It still blooms out quite badly, but not so bad as it would have done without it. The Advanced Load to get the best out of the DPM. Fire safety training, because again this thing gets set on fire a lot, so we do like to be able to make sure that we're putting out the fire quicker and just less likely to get set on fire if we get shot in the spot that they can set us on fire. Clutch braking and rapid aim to make the turret traverse and track traverse just that little bit nicer on this vehicle, make it feel more nimble in the way that the turret and the tracks work, as well as it just makes the tank feel less lethargic. Trap mechanic, because we do tend to get stuck in a brawl with this vehicle, so it's nice to be able to get the tracks back on faster if they do blow them off, and especially if we've already used the repair kit. But again, there's plenty of ways you can set up this vehicle. You could quite easily drop the loaded shell exchanger, decide that just make do, make peace with whichever round you load at the time, and then run the improved concealment, and you will get down to that good 290-ish range for your concealment with the camouflage expertise as well, and that will make you have very, very good camo, making it it's a pretty useful thing for the vehicle in general if you wanted to do that. And you would be dropping one of the clutch braking or rapid aim for that camouflage expertise as well alongside it. But again, plenty of different ways to kit out the vehicle. It's really down to you and how you want to set up the tank to get the best out of it. So this second replay in the Reapers Scythe, we're here on this map in a tier 9 lobby, which is Arctic region, and we're already up to 2.2k damage with 765 assistance damage. We're just trying to take out this super Pershing, but we're not quite finding the shots. There's something in the distance over there. That T-55A just charged around the corner, and I saw shells flying in, and I'm sitting there going, I don't want to push around that corner after these guys, because every time we do, people are getting pegged by something from the back, and that's just not good. There's a Yag Tiger, and in fact, it's not that guy. I'm pretty sure that there's still something back there in that position that I've just pinged. So we want to make sure that we're not going to overexpose ourselves around the corner trying to go after these guys and just give whatever is in that corner a free shot. So we're just waiting to see if the Freedom or the Super P will give us a nice shot there, but they don't. The T-30 ends up pulling forwards, which means we can't find a shot into these guys. He's also stopped, by the way, because you can hear it by his I think it's a 105mm gun that he's got. You can hear it in the sound. He's not got the big gun. But he manages to shut down the Freedom there. We try and get the HE round into the top of the Super P, because we're being awkward. We need to try and hit his cupola, but it's been very, very awkward. If we load the HE, maybe we could actually just splash it to death and get rid of this real thorn in our side. We've got the Demon now coming round, so we try and slot a Hesh round into the Demon's cupola. It doesn't go anywhere near and just does 160 odd damage. We get hit by whatever is in that back corner, and at this point I'm looking at this going, oh boy, this is going to be awkward. So we're trying to decide which round is best. AP is the best round for us because we just need to guarantee the shots. So wait for the Demon to come round this corner. I've still got the medium tank on my right, which I'm hoping will be able to get the shots into this Demon as he progresses along to try and shoot me. And in fact, the Demon's realised now, oh, there's a tank on my right. It's a Type 59-2. He had been trying to flamethrower us, but thankfully he didn't catch us enough. So we're going to go around and try and get a cheeky shot at this Demon. We can try and shoot underneath the dead wreck of some of these vehicles. But yet again, I don't want to drive around the corner too aggressively, because there is definitely something in that corner that could shoot us. And yeah, we don't want to take that hit. It's already shot at us once. We don't know what it is at this point, but it's just proving awkward because, again, it's very, very easy to get spotted and shot at by them. So again, I'm watching underneath the dead wreck of the TD there, the T30. We get a Hesh, well, we get the Hesh round there into the side of the turret of the demon. Didn't hit him for very much, but I thought if I can just keep whittling some hit points off them, then that would be great. But there we go, the demon finally gets shut down. We're pinging the corner again, say to our platoon mate that there is something up there in that corner that is being a pain. We get a Hesh round into the little turret's weak spot of the Super P, and I was really hoping that that would pen, but it didn't, which means we only did a bit of splash damage, but that means that if we shoot him again, there's a likelihood we'll probably just splash him to death. Probably should have fired the standard HE, because we've got 630 alpha on that, and if we'd fired the standard HE, we might have splashed him for enough to kill him. So we'll go for the HE round, the Hesh round, into that bush location, because again, I'm sure there's something there. I'm not 100% sure what it is. I'm looking at it going, maybe it's an Iron Rain, but I'm not sure. And in fact, there it is. It's an Object 416. Oh, we put the Hesh round in the side of his turret. He takes a hit from the Type 59-2 as well, and he's down to that 340-odd hit points now. Again, we knew there was something in that corner. And it's one of those moments where we went, yes, we knew there was something there. And it getting spotted was like validation. It was like, yeah, I knew there was something there. There usually is. But when the shots were flying around, we can't attack the people on that corner that easily if there's someone there. So we're trying to play it as cautiously as humanly possible. So, he's still there, that 416. Not going to be able to do much about that. So we're going to go after the Conqueror that is currently in the middle area. If I load Hesh, I should be able to go through the lower plate of a Conqueror. That would be quite nice. But I can also just hit him for 440 with the AP, and that's where the trades are quite nice with this vehicle. Even in a tier 10 lobby, if you can pen things, the trades are definitely very, very nice, because you can put them in for 440, 413 hits those vehicles quite hard. Yes, the reload is pretty long, but if you're in a situation like we are here, where you can manage that reload, it can be pretty nice. So the 416 gets spotted. We need to get rid of it. But he ends up getting killed there before we get the chance to get the shot in. We try and put the shot through the drive wheel of the Conqueror there, but we don't end up penning it. We just track him in place, which kind of works out a little bit as he does end up taking a hit. So what I'm going to do is knock the tree over. I'm knocking the tree over into this bush area because I was hoping that maybe the tree would cover me and give me a little bit more camo there if I poked through these bushes, and so these guys wouldn't see me. We end up finding the IS Desmond Tutu, who is in that corner, and I think, okay, you know what, I'm going to knock down this tree here as well. Because if I knock down this tree, there's the hope with at that sort of angle there that maybe that will give me that little bit extra concealment that I need to stay unspotted as I go after this Conqueror and that. But, well, we're still lit up as we go around that corner. We put the shot into the side of the Conqueror. They're always going to see us at that point, so my theory didn't really work. We finally do get unspotted, though, and we're going to try and finish off this Conqueror. I load up the Hesh. Again, I should probably load the standard HE, but I load up the Hesh because I know that, again, if I hit the turret top of that Conqueror, I was always going to finish him off with a splash round, well, with a splash. And that's exactly what happened, because the HE and the Hesh rounds on this vehicle do have 3.36 meter splash, so they do have a decent splash radius, meaning they'll do quite a bit of damage. So the IS Desmond Tutu there gets absolutely bullied by that Bayer. That Bayer was like, I am going to kill you, Mr. IS Desmond Tutu, there is no hope. And he kills the M4043 as well. That Bayer is living the life. Fair play to that man, as he's picked up a couple of kills. But he's dropped into the water area as he's trying to escape Mr. Light Tank. And so, yeah, he's probably going to end up getting shot out, because you've got to be careful with that water area that's there. You can actually drop into a pit really, really easily and just, yeah, it doesn't go well from there. So I was going for the Hesh round, or the HE round there into the Iron Rain, but I didn't need to in the end because he lost a load of hit points. We now got a shot into the rear of the M41 90mm, who is the last tank alive, just aiming, and he gets shut down by the Type 59-2 before we get the chance to fire. But we finished the game with a pretty good total there for the Reapers Scythe. We finished with 4 kills, 4.8k damage, 1144 assistance damage, the Ace Tank at the high caliber, with the 2240 base XP. A very, very good game there for the tank in a tier 9 lobby. Not the hardest tier 9 lobby in the universe, but you know, it's still a pretty good game for the vehicle. And like I say, this tank is not a great vehicle in a tier 10 game. It's just never going... Well, no, I was about to say it's never going to do well in that scenario. No, it will do well in that scenario if you keep catching them out in the side and the rear. But especially if there's more heavily armoured vehicles, that's where you're really going to struggle and not do anything. But those sorts of matchups can be just a royal pain because, yeah, depending things can be a real annoyance. But I digress. We're on to this final replay here on Kasserine. And on Kasserine, oh yeah, we're gonna have a good game. This is the reason I wanted to make the video, because we had this game, which was a really nice game, and we can have some nice Hesh memes, because we love Hesh memes. Hesh memes are glorious. Hesh memes are life. Derp is love, Derp is life. It's not a derp gun, but Hesh. Hesh is a thing of beauty. So, here on Kasserine, what we're going to do with the wonky spawn Kasserine is go up to the position up here at FG7, where we can try and spot people as they cross the 9-0. It's not quite the easiest thing to do in a Reapers Scythe, but we can do it because we're close enough. But we just got to be careful that we don't have the best view range in the universe, which means the more stealthy vehicles might be able to cross the 9-0 without ever getting spotted. But we can spot and shoot the people that do cross that 9-0 fairly easily. We can try and cut off anyone that tries to do what the M46 pattern career is doing. And in fact, I see the M46 pattern career and go, you know what? Mr. Pattern Career, it is time for your death. We get the hell... Okay, RNG. We'll take that. RNG's, he giveth and he taketh. That shot went straight into the roof of the M46 Pattern Career. Go for that lower plate shot with the Hesh. 546. Oh, yeah. We love them rolls. We'll take it. We're up to 1,048, and that's an M46 Pattern Career. Fairly well bullied. With those beautiful, beautiful Hesh rounds, which, yeah, they are beautiful. They really, really are if you get to use them. Oh, you want some as well, Mr. Bulldog? 511 into Mr. Bulldog. Sorry, Digital Man. Sorry, Digital Man. He wanted it, though. You saw it. You saw it here first. He wanted that Hesh round. It was not my fault that I just had to give what he wanted. So we put the Hesh round towards Mr. Bulldog again. 200 damage, though, this time. Doesn't actually pen, and that's because we hit the turret at a weird angle. So it just wasn't going to pen. What I want to do is go around and get rid of this M46 Pattern Career, which is why we've loaded the AP rounds now, because we can just guarantee the pen, get rid of him, and then we can focus on getting rid of the Bulldog and going after whoever else. So we put the shot there into that M46 Pattern Career. Again, RNG's is going for us. That shot went straight in without really aiming it that well. And so we pick up our first kill of this game. We're always mindful that the Bulldog was on our right-hand side, but we're going after Mr. Panther 2. Oh, we just had that perfect shot into his side there, but again, I was just making sure of it getting aimed, and he got away with it. But he's just going to sit there. Oh, we just awkwardly can't get the shot in. This is very awkward. We're just not quite getting what I want. There we go, 586. Because we really had to make sure to avoid the spaced armor, because Hesh is just like HE. If we hit spaced armor, it's not going to pen it. It's just going to do splash damage. So we were trying to 100% make sure of that shot. We put the AP round there into Mr. Panther 2, securing our second kill of the game, and we're up to 2.9k damage. So we know there's TDs over there. They'll load Mr. Shashka. We load the HE round, the standard HE round. Put it in. Oh, nearly 600. That was a low roll, by the way. We set him on fire to kill him, but we should have killed him with the HE round in the first place. We actually low rolled. But we've got the standard HE round for 630 in with 68 pen, because again, an SU-130 PM is just like the Shashka. It's the tank that we can pen with it. We spot him up, put it in for 653. Oh, yeah, that's good. Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's it right there. That's the HE pen that we're craving. Oh, that's why I like having the loaded shell exchanger. It's something that I kind of missed out on before the crew equipment changes because we couldn't take it. Because I tried to take it, but the gun stabilizer is just a must on this vehicle because the gun handling is just a bit poo. So you want to get the aim circle down as low as you can do with having that gun stabilizer. Oh! The Hesh round into the back of the turret of that Stone Cold as well. He took a hit, though, before we finished him off, but we'll pick up the fourth kill of this game. Got shot into the roof of the Bog Horror, which we're just going to launch an AP round there in for 447, up to 5,076 damage. We're having a very, very nice game. T29 behind us is now in a position where I might be able to get a shot at him, but then he ends up dropping into the dip. So we're just going to see if we can get a shot into the IS-6, who's now possibly coming into the open area where we could shoot him, but we can't quite see him over the ledge. Oh, he's just teasing us. That's what that guy is doing. Absolutely teasing us. So we're not getting a shot into the IS-6 or the Bog Horror. The Bulldog. I didn't eat that poor Bulldog. I'm sorry, Digital Man. That was really bad timing on your part. I was like, okay, those guys are dead. I'm going to go after the T29, and just to swivel around, we go, oh, hello, Bulldog, and finish off the Bulldog with a Hesh round, which, yeah, glorious scenes. And there's one tank left. It's Mr. T29. We put the shot into the side of him there, and yeah, that guy's just sadly given up, which means that at the end of this game, we're hoping to pick up our top gun. I feel like I am going to get the top gun here because there is no one else around. And we put the shot into his engine deck to finish him off for 6.2k damage and our 6th kill. Very, very good game there for the Reapers Scythe with the victory. 6 kills, 6.2k damage, 447 assistance damage. The ace tank of the high caliber, the top gun with that 2.3, nearly 2.4k base XP. Fantastic game for the Reapers Scythe, which is why we wanted to make a video. And that's the tank. Like I say, it's a meme wagon. It's a very, very nice tank to play for the memes. And it's very, very good when it's top tier. And even in a tier 9 matchup. But especially when you start to get to the heavily armoured vehicles at tier 9 and 10, this tank becomes a real pain to play just because of awkward low penetration. Just performance issues. So as always, everybody, thank you very much for watching. I'll see you next time.
A great success!